Hi, my name is Valerie Varan. In this part 3 of the Nature of Reality and Quantum Consciousness series, I pick up with quantum physicist Anirban Bandyopadhyay, where we left off in part 2, talking about how we need to leave space and time behind and go deeper into the world of primes. Why? Because everything we see is geometric, and we need to rebuild our entire thought process. Anirban continues here by informing us about the effects of every thought we think, every letter or word we speak, and the effects on our global mind and evolution of consciousness. The word is to carry the information of consciousness. Hymns were created as rhythms, and different rhythms are related to different symmetries, which in turn are related to different structures. Regarding the human biofield in sound healing, he explains it doesn't matter the letter or word we say, it is about how we say it and why. He rebukes the field of psychology and urges psychologists to start believing that information is alive. He teaches how a person needs to learn how to make it alive, lively, within themselves, by seeing increasingly novel perspectives to any thought or belief, adding symmetry, and changing the underlying structure of the information of consciousness. Lastly, Anirban implores not only our education systems, but society itself to change. It is destroying the evolution of consciousness, he says. Take a listen.
Everything that we see, the geometric shape. So don't go from one dimension to two dimension to three dimension to four dimension to five dimension to up to 11th dimension to 12th dimension. Rather than start from the 12th dimension and derive one dimension. So come from 12 to 11 to 10 to 9 to 8. So this is the way when our thought process has to be rebuilt. Then we can start seeing the thing, because I have also grown up in the Western education system, because everybody in India, all the Hindus, they grow up, and we were told by our teachers how we should seek the truth. So I am trying to revitalize and making this old ancient educational system come life in practice, because it has disappeared from India totally. It doesn't exist in India, but it was there. We used to think like that. We used to prepare like that. If you see the literatures, how they are making the arguments, it's so profound and so different. So uh, and uh, and this new way of looking into the system, where at every single I'm looking at you, but I do not consider this as the truth. I modify some part of you, elements of you, and then relook at it, and then modify. And then every time I modify in a different way. So, apparently, as you said, very rightly said, that everything, all large number of observations has to be compiled into a single set of static data information structure. That has been considered as knowledge because it is finite, tangible, and you can write it down, you can't change. On the other hand, imagine um, uh, 7,000, 8,000 years back in India, some people prohibited writing knowledge. It is not that they couldn't write. They stopped writing the Vedas and other knowledge, suggesting that whenever you write down knowledge, it becomes finite. And Maharshi Kapil's statement, one of my friends, Somnath Bhattacharya, he is a professor of quantum technologies in South Africa. So he works on developing quantum computer and low temperature physics, superconducting qubit, and all these kind of things. So he asked me that, Anirban, this Maharshi Kapil, I'm a big fan of Maharshi Kapil actually, because he first time he actually said that he's pre-Vedic era. I mean, Rig Veda is oldest, 6,000 BC or 7,000 BC, and even he is older than that. He said two things which moved and changed my life forever. The first thing is that if you want to understand consciousness, he said, if you want to understand consciousness, then what you do is you try to invent a language where when you pronunciate a single letter, it generates the particular feeling that later can bring in true reality. So Sanskrit was created as part of Hindu worship of God or consciousness. So they started finding those letters which should be there. So even if you go to any slums in India and they are worshipping God, the seed hymns are actually the letters of Sanskrit, like ka kha ga gha wa cha cha ja ja ya ta tha da da na pa pa ba va ma. So these are the 25 letters that they use. Actually, total 47 letters are there. And surprisingly, strikingly, 47 Broadman's region are there on our brain. So each letter has a meaning. For an example, so like I want to say continuous, I will say ra. If I want to say creator, ma. So mother, or anybody who creates, we put ma. Even river, we say ma. Like Ganges, we say Mother Ganges. We never say Ganges. And we put G. In Japan also you will find we call sun. So we have a huge similarity between Shinto religion and Hindu religion. So we call it G, considering it as a living system. So we call it mother, whoever creates. So so Ma is noted with creator, creating. Mother gives birth to the babies, so she is a creator. So continuously who creates? We say Rama. That's why Ram, one of the greatest kings of India, is considered as worshipped as God, but his name is actually Rama. And if I want to say something like bird, then I say kha cha ra. Anything that moves in any Indian language will have the letter cha. And if you want to have a sky or anything, kha. So bird will be kha cha ra. In the sky, something that moves can move a ra continuously. So letters have to be put together to create. But the pronunciation, how do you pronounce it? Kha, cha, ra, not racha kha. And then you do matrix transformation, space, that is 7 different kind of situation that you can have in your life. Then that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then three dimensions of singularity, plurality, duality, multiplicity, because duality and multiplicity is important, as you know, in the concept of consciousness. And then past, present, future, if it is there. So 3 x-axis, 3 y-axis, and 7 along the z-axis. So it's a 3-dimensional tensor like element, mathematical rule that you impose on those 2 letters in Sanskrit, and you transform the letter. So what happens is letter is little bit of changed a little bit, and that letter, that transformed letter, now you can put anywhere in the sentence. So in India, we do not have like English ordering. First this letter will come, then this word, this word, this word. No, in India, if you ask anybody to say in any Indian language except Hindi, because Hindi is basically Arabic. Hindi, because of the Islamic rules, some part of Indians, they could not resist the force, so they started speaking Arabic. So don't take Hindi, but other language like Bengali, my mother tongue, or other languages, if you take, you will find that that this any part, like I go home, ami bari jai, in my mother tongue, jai ami bari. Uh, it doesn't make any difference in values. Though why have we made it tensors independent invariant? Because we can convert it into a music. I have to find the best rhythm how we do it. So I think in India, we have 5,000 years of history of books on rhythms. We call it Chanda Sastra. Rhythms, many scholars have written. There is no other nation, I think, or no other religion which has invested so much resources and time and literature. Say 70% of all the scriptures and literatures are on the structure of rhythms. Can you imagine it?
You know what I love about that? I mean, even in the Christian Bible, it will say in the beginning is the word. And to me, that's so significant because they're
Yes,
talking about in the beginning. And if we think of what the word is, it's starting to set something in motion. It is speaking to the vibration and to the rhythm.
that's why you should not write down the knowledge, because if you write down the knowledge, then when you vibrate, I create a vortex field. Vortex is a ring of fields that we generate. That's why for an example, for few days, I'm trying to pronunciate a particular Vedic hymn absolutely perfectly, and I'm trying to correct myself so that a very particular kind of vibration I can throw, so that, I mean, from this practice you can understand from I would just like to recite a few lines of it, if you have no problem.
Beautiful.
That's so this Vedic hymn would tell you that how rhythms are organized in different mathematical forms, and the use of prime numbers were there. So Maharshi Kapil's, I'm a fan of Maharshi Kapil because he talked about the language, because it's very, very important. For an example, you ask me, Anirban, how are you today? I can say, fine, fine, fine. I can take millions of ways, and FINE means nothing to you. But the gap between the letters and the way I'm pronouncing, that means, so English is not the language to express emotion or perception that you have in your mind. Because I can pronounce it like, what are you doing? I can say nothing, 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 nothing. It means there is something. so so the word is not carrying any information of consciousness. It fails to become the Kapil's prescription to understand. So Sanskrit was just created because of that. Another thing he said was, it is integers that are the codes. So Purusha, he said, the mathematical structure of integers, and that creates the symmetry that governs. That is the Purusha. It does not have any form, but it's a pure mathematical structure that actually created. And he was the first to propose that there are fundamental three colors and geometric shapes which come together. And quantum chromodynamics, the field that you know, which was primarily created, one of the creators were from India. He was a Christian, George Sudarshan, but he was a kind of one of the best Vedic scholars I have ever seen. So, so he was from Kerala, and whole life he didn't get the Nobel Prize, but on his topic, 6 people got the Nobel Prize. Why he didn't get it, we don't know. But he was one of the, one of those scientists in the world who got nominated for the largest number of times for the Nobel Prize. But his basic idea, he has written in his book how he got the idea. He got the idea from Maharshi Kapil, where he took colored triangles and geometric shapes, put them together to create all the fundamental elements of the universe, how universe got created. But this Kapil and his son Arusi, his student Arusi, that together they gave the idea that the mathematical structures of 6 dimensions, that is Purusha, and spatiotemporal structure, that is they call Prakriti, that is space and time. This what we see in physical reality, and the structure of time, because the structure of time you will find in Hinduism very, very profound, very, very profound. Even you know the Nataraja dance. 108 dance forms of Shiva. And um, uh, and in this way you can find many different aspects of the Hindu culture is using 108 as a number. So 108 forms, 108 lotus is offered to the god. So the rhythms of tabla instruments, 108 different rhythms. Like in Western world, you have 4x4 or 2x2, 3x3. But what we learn as a tabla player when I was a kid, we learned 17. That is, after 17 it will come back. So your mind has to be trained to create the prime on the different kind of rhythms. And how you need to be do that up to 108. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108. And you have to come back one. So you understand, up to 108, you have to hold that particular uniqueness for each beat. And then after that exact time, you have to come back. So this is what I wanted to tell you, that why fractal and holographic, though both the concepts failed apart, because with every single rhythm, when you start say 53, I will come back to the initial point, which they call soma. So how do you do that? Your brain needs a huge stability. Now the Hindu civilization has totally destroyed. So now we have 17 left out of 108. So 17, but even those 17 you can study anywhere in India, 17 or 22, 23, you can study. And you can see how they are trying to bring back. That's why rhythmic culture was important. So regarding Maharshi Kapil's, these two part were extremely important to me, that that language should have each and every letters. So Sanskrit means reform. So you don't fix it, you
Reform it.
reform it continuously. So the day you fix it, you die. So that's why writing was prohibited. And there is a cult called Naimisharanya. The place is still there in Uttar Pradesh in India, where they started compiling, because it became more than 90,000. And it was very difficult to do this. So Vyasa, the monk, started writing down the Vedas. But it was huge debate that point of time, because that point of time, 239 different scholars had to come from all over India and together and debate. I mean, I'm talking about 6,000, 7,000 BC, something like that, when they decided that, okay, we will write it down. And so one of the hymns that I say that I will tell, to give you an example how the rhythms were composed. So it goes like this. Aham rudrebhirvasubhischaraamyaham aditai rutavishadevayaham aham mitravaruno bivarmyaham indragni ahamashino bhayaham aham somamahanasam bivarmyaham tvashtaramut pushanam bhagam aham dadami dravinam havishate suprabhajajamānāya sunnateyaham.
Beautiful.
Rastring Shangamani Basunam Chikitushi Prathama Jagyanam Tam Mangdeva Badadhu Purutva Bhurista Trang Bhuriya Beshayantim Mayasho Annamat Jobi Pashati Yaha Pranati Yoi Srinoti Uktam Amanto Manta Upakshiyanti Sruti Sruta Sudhavante Vadami Ayameba Swayamidam Vadami Justrang Debe Bhirutamanu. So this is kind of an example how different kind of rhythms are put together, different symmetries are coming together and building the structures. So it's a very complex mathematics, and it is lively. As it goes on, it creates and incorporates. But when you pronounce it, we can tell the meaning of the everyone, because you have to feel it.
Well, and a lot of energy sensitives can really feel these rhythms. Like you said,
Exactly.
there's the rhythm behind a word, there's the rhythm behind the
Mhm.
song. So I'm wondering if you even want to speak to that when it comes to the idea of the biofield, the idea of maybe information being more stored in the biofield at maybe William Tiller says an SU2 gauge symmetry state rather than like you said, a body. And then therefore, how is it that every word we say affects our body, affects our biofield, and how even sound healing might be applicable?
Hmm. Of course, I strongly believe that, as I gave 2, 3 examples to you, that it doesn't matter what the letter or the word we say. What it matters is how we say it, and that's
How we
why
say it.
how we say it and how we pronunciate it. Where do we give a stress to a particular word? And of course, the language is fundamentally important, because if the fundamental structure is not organized to the elementary fundamental level, um, then it is very difficult to express my feelings, and it will create lots of misinformations, communications, and disease. For an example, in English, every single letter, every single word is dead. Like umbrella, it does not have any meaning. It's not live. But if I say, for an example, I was pronouncing this hymn, and then if I take any word, I can go for every single pair of words. It will have a meaning. Any triplet of words will have a meaning, and even a letter will have a meaning. And the letter, how I transform it, every single letter during the pronunciation, that will also have a meaning. And that will how will it change. So I go deeper, 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 deeper to the elementary vibrational level, and that word I will choose very carefully after years of practice. So you can't imagine that it took nearly 1400 years for after Maharshi Kapil for Hindus to find out a preliminary form of reform. So last reform we know we got around 400 BC, but that is dead now. Why? Because Sanskrit scholars in India, yeah, and or the especially the Hindus, if you talk to them, they are like, you can't make any changes anywhere. You can't do any experiment with the pronunciation of the words or letters, because that is what we call death. So when I'm saying that English language is made of dead bodies, hmm, so they have converted Sanskrit also now almost like that. They are not doing that research, that because, as I said, mathematically, Maharshi Kapil's argument and others, if you see the real Sanatan dharma, we do not call it religion, we say dharma, because we have to ask the questions. We are the seekers. So in Hindu, the way it is that you can even challenge God. You can ask questions. You can defeat it. You can modify. You can modify. You can change the book. There is no fixed book. You can rewrite. You have to emerge. You have to be alive. That's why I said that when you make a fractal, you kill it. You make a hologram, you kill it. You make a dead body, and you want a dead body to be there. No, you make the information alive, information structure alive, information integration principles alive, and train our kids, our babies of the future, to learn and to grow up with their music, with their dance, um, to reform themselves. So healing, what are you talking about, has to be an integral part of life, and it should go from the very beginning when we are born until we die. Because every single moment, I mean, there are millions and millions of cells in my body are dying and then replacing with a better cell to fight with the universe. So we see it even in our body. Every moment this is happening. Only in our life form, we want a language that is made of dead bodies. We want a dance, or we want a beating, for an example, in the Western world. I would very much like that beyond 2 by 2 and 3 by 3, other rhythms are taken and experiments begin. Because why not to more than 2 by 2 and 3 by 3?
Yes, like you said, we've so limited ourselves.
Fixing, and that is that is creating a zombie humanity all over the world, because the whole world, because of the richness of the Western world and then their power, they are considering that as the truth. Because in the current world, truth means more money and more power. So how many number of nuclear bomb you have is equal to truth. Whatever you say, that is true. And how much money do you have? So that is actually true. So these are the two fundamental parameters. Those are dead bodies. Again, using one, you create dead bodies. Another one is already a dead body. So the money allows you how much food I need to every day to live, and how much cloth do I need, how much things do I need. We never understand that even if you are Mark Zuckerberg or the richest persons from Middle East or from India, Mukesh Ambani, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You eat the amount that is needed for your belly. You need only limited number of things that you can consume, never more than that, and hardly when you have a lot of money, then you realize. So then why do you um, why do you spend so much resources and others to create the dead bodies, compile in a whole architecture of dead bodies and live in that dead bodies? And we are not trained to be alive. So in this world, that's why not just the sound for healing, learning different kind of rhythms from the very childhood, learning different kind of dance from the very childhood, learning that nothing is stable and what it is not, and how to convey your words, your emotions properly. When I'm making an argument, how to see all different perspectives of it. So, and hollowness of the universe, that needs to be trained. So Maharshi Gautama in 600 BC, he came up with a new theory that is in the German Nietzsche, German philosopher, he called it the architecture of confusion. So it's a beautiful thing, I would like to say in this particular regard. So Maharshi Gautama was the first to say that that if you want to understand nature and the universe, you should not try to look for facts or static or dead elements. You should try to look for something. There is a confusion. Confusion means he has defined very clearly, very scientifically, and that is when you have, say, a situation where you have contradictory possibilities are there, and you have very something that you don't know its origin, where it's coming from, and in future where it will go, and all the possibilities exist, but it is confusing. That means you don't know where it came from. Okay, so where you suppose you are facing a problem in your day-to-day life, you go and find out which is the most confusing and unknown thing that you don't know. You take it there, and you go inside and you find most unknown things that you don't know inside, and you take one of them, each of them, and go. So you create a temple like architecture that is called architecture of confusion, AOC. So and you finally you will have a situation, then you will not be able to find any fact or any confusion. You will reach the facts. Fact is the bottom layer, bottom plane, and where the whole architecture of confusion actually builds up. Okay, so you, in the current science, we take those facts with measurements, link them to create our scientific model and theory, where he suggested this whole temple of architecture of confusion is the solution of the problem.
Well, I love that because it makes people, start in the unknown, and instead of being so sure of themselves. I mean, let's face it, that's why Western medicine, the way it is, and even Western science, it's so slow in the progress because it keeps getting stuck with where it's been rather than being able to go venture out in the unknown. I have a question because you said it's how we pronounce things, right? That dance below our words that make them alive. What about thoughts?
Yeah, that's why I said that we also train or the kids how to make arguments. That's why I'm saying that hollowness of things. For an example, there's a beautiful culture of training young kids in the temples. Even now, many tolls, they used to call it, exist. And how do they learn? Their way of learning is very beautiful. So that will give you an example how the thought process should go there. Suppose I want to define what is a pen. So this is actually Maharshi Gautama's book. Actually, he started this. Tarkasastra, the most modern way of doing argument, and how to do argument, it will be there. So what I would say that suppose this is a pen. Pen is an object using which I can write. Then the other person who is arguing with me, he would say, no, I can take a pencil and I can write. Okay, I have an object that using which I can, there is a liquid flow, and that liquid has a color, and then I can write, and that will be a pen. Well, no, if you take a finger and you dip it in water and you start writing, then that is a pen. No, it should be a dead object. And you argument goes on and on and on and on and on for hours, and then you realize that you have to modify your definition, make it more complex, 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 and it's an endless chain. And even then, something cannot be an absolute truth. So our thought process should be first making it onion-like. So it was actually the analogy given by Maharshi Gautama. So he said, just like onion, you take it out, because this onion-like example of onion is all over there in Hindu scriptures. Everywhere, it's filled with it, because this is just antithesis of the Western culture, right? Western culture is like Abrahamic faiths, and then their cultures associated with Christianity, and then other things, the way it evolved. It's almost like you have fact, and you have sequence, and here you go within and above, not side by side. If you see Turing machine is kind of considered as a foundation of this civilization that we are living today, and we are enjoying the beautiful technology given by the Western world to the rest of the part of the world. So there is no doubt that the fundamental contribution of the Western science is profound, very, very profound. Because when you take fact and combine themselves, you can make the best machines that you can ever think of. So the weakness of the Hindu way of thinking is that when you go within and above, and you go for confusion and something, you may be rich in your thoughts, understanding of nature and the universe, but you don't make machines slaves. You can't make the killing machines, because if you want to do that, you want to make slaves, you need to understand, you need to make dead bodies. Using dead bodies, dead thoughts. So when we are trying to change the thought process of a human being that you asked, we need to first think, what is life? What is lively? So every single, there is no fact. It's like onion, like I will take out every layer and go to the bottom, but I will never find the onion or any substance in it. So every layer is kind of a fake representation, which is not anything substantive anywhere, but together as a whole, it gives me some perspective of it. So this kind of argument has to be there. Then C2, C3, C5 prime symmetries, they are also integral part of the thought process. For an example, neti. There are 16 ways how you can transform your thought process. And I have a proposal to make 16 different kind of computers. So I have made one kind of quantum computer and one kind of artificial brain in my lab, but that follows only Maharishi Gautama's this architecture of confusion. That is, everything is singularity. With phase singularity, you build up the quantum computer and something. But I have my dream that before I die, I would like to use other 15 also, different kind of computer, different kind of way of making decisions. One of them is architecture of confusion, as I said. Another is neti. So anything that you take that is wrong, you prove it. So you say negativity is very bad thing. In the Western psychology, they teach us, oh, negativity is so bad. So, but I mean, if when you come to the Hindu religion, then it's a very, very primitive, very primitive and childish thought. Because one of the most profound way of getting knowledge, acquiring knowledge, is negativity. So we worship negativity significantly. For an example, neti, this principle is you negate and negate and negate and negate and negate and negate and negate, prove it wrong, and then whatever left, you could not prove it wrong, take that, and then again prove it not wrong. So you are extreme negative plus negative plus negative plus negative plus negative. You go on for astronomical infinite series. What you will come back is a positive integer.
Well, it's funny because in psychotherapy, I know what you're talking about, how some people talk about negative is bad. However, especially in holistic psychotherapy, we wouldn't say that. Here's what we would say. We would say, when we have a negative thought, it has vibration, it has an architecture to it, and it's creating analogous emotional resonances, responses. It's creating tension in the body. There is a constellation of thought, emotion, physiological reaction that is happening with every thought. So interestingly, we would say if we are full of negative thinking, and that tends to be our zombie, non-living way of living in the world, then it is good to express that negativity so that we can get insight to it, so that we can release it from our body, and in a way get to the place where you know, we can create anew and reform.
Okay, so I would like to add to it, because here is the what is the Hindu perspective. So when you say that I have negativity, full of negativity, I would release it. The whole approach, I would say some orthogonal approach, not opposite, orthogonal, very different. Just like Western is linear, sequential, and then it is within and above. Similarly, now here this perspective. Suppose you have something negative. The first and fundamental thing is every information is alive. Everything should be alive. So your negative thought, why it poisons you? Because it is a dead body that you keep. Negativity, when you are not exploring it, suppose I have some negativity, I will die tomorrow because tomorrow I'm going to go by plane and I have huge fear of getting into the plane. So what is happening? I am fixing it, my time, to death. And fear of death, then I'm putting it back. And I'm not able to think anything else. I'm not ready to bring about anything else. For an example, fear of darkness. Why? Because you are shutting down your sensory system. If you just switch on the light and have a look at it, it may be just a rope, or you are fearing with a snake. So the point is, anything that is a dead body, even a truth, is a poison. So defining negative things or negativity and saying that it could be deadly or poisonous. No, even if you take a truth, a very positive thing, that would be poisonous too. So if you take very positive things, you are going to destroy yourself. Why? The problem is not positive thinking, neutral thinking, negative thinking, everywhere you see, I want to bring it to the same topic I started at the beginning of my interview, that if it is dead, if the information structure is dead, you are not evolving it, bringing into newer, different perspectives into it, and then it is poisonous. It doesn't matter if it is a positive thought or negative thought. Positive thought will also kill you. Neutral thought will also kill you. But in all three cases, you are carrying a dead body. It will rotten and it will destroy you, because your body is made of living structures. So what you have to do, that's why niti concept comes, because we are today doing a very fundamental discussion on the Hindu practices. And what I'm saying is, suppose you have very negative thought, you just bring in another perspective to it. C2 symmetry means see the opposite side of it. C3 symmetry, see its past, present, future, 3 dimensions into it. C5 symmetry, you add 5 different elements into it: earth, fire, something like open space, what it will happen, something. So what you do is you make your thought alive. Then it doesn't matter if it is a negative one, it is a neutral one, or it is a positive one. As soon as
So how do
you
you
try
make
to,
your thought alive?
yes. So how do you make your thought alive is you apply to it C2 symmetry, C3 symmetry, C5, C7, C. So every single symmetry has a profound, it is a mathematical operator. So you see that C2 symmetry means other side. If you cut it half, you see other side. It's a mirror. It's not equal. Your left side and right side are not equal, totally different, but you see the similarity. Why? It's a mirror symmetry, other side of other aspect of it. So if it is a true, then it is a false. So you have to be trained to bring in the perspective of C2 symmetry, C3 symmetry, C5 symmetry. Every single prime operators carries with it a very fundamental physical significance. And we have many different hymns. And for example, every god we give 108 names. Each name has a meaning with a functional property. So each one you apply, go on applying, and you will see the positivity. You will see the whole perspective into it, which has some negative aspects, some positive aspects, some other different aspect, which is neither positive nor negative, and other things said. So it's a habit inside us. So by expressing it, telling others, you have seen there are some people, many people you have met in your life with whom you have made conversation, and they, when they tell their negativity to you, is it good for you? Does it, I mean, does it give you a great vibe? I mean, is it like I have indigestion in my stomach, so I vomit on some other's body, other's face, and then I will feel relaxed and something like that? No, this is totally fundamentally wrong in the Western psychological concepts. I mean, every part, I have written, anyway, I have written a book on emotions, on consciousness, because I have studied 290 human subjects for different vibrations of the brain. And then we made a new instrument, we call it a duodecanogram, by which 12 different time domain I want to observe from the brain surface, how the mind is reacting, evolving, and generating newer patterns. So what we want is that all these different kind of patterns has to evolve, and we observed. And I proposed, as I said, self-operating mathematical universe, SOMU. SOMU is also the nickname of Shiva. So SOMU theory I have proposed, in which universe is a single point and it wants to be undefined. That's why it puts n number of points into it, and then this temple-like structure is created, which is only probability, nothing. So since you are making one point undefined, so even that point doesn't exist. So I assume nothing. Undefined point means it doesn't exist. So I start from there, and I create a space, time, and then how different properties of evaluating the whole becomes a property of the part. So all the properties that could be in the whole, 94, 95, 96% of it could be there in the part of it. and then that part will grow, and that part will have so a conscious life that is Virata Purusha, and then inside and inside and inside and inside and inside. So in this book, I have gone through many human subjects. I have measured thermal camera, thermal imaging, and from Springer Nature, I think this book. Just give me 1 minute. I can bring the book.
Sure.
The book. So. So this is the book. This is the book.
Emotion, Cognition, and Silent Communication, Unsolved Mystery.
So we put 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people, 6 people, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, and then 12 people in a room, nearly dark room, silent. All their brains were connected, not just EEG, but EEG is 1 hertz to 40 hertz, but we observed megahertz, gigahertz, up to terahertz. So all the frequency band where you are communicating wirelessly through different humans, everything we observed, and we allowed them to exchange. So information exchange happens in many different dimensions and many different ways, many different fields that goes from one's body to another. So if you touch hand, if you eat, if you smell, the whole collective consciousness changes. So one person is not conscious alone. It needs at least 12 people to see the conscious element in a system. So that also we discovered. So everything is there in this book. So we have written the whole research. This is a monograph, not chapters, but and totally experimental research that we have carried out since 2019 to 2023. The book is out. So this is my first and last book on consciousness. I will not write anymore because I feel like whatever I could contribute, I have contributed, and I need to understand these things and more and more. But no new experiment, I think, is required. Other scientists can take over, psychologists. So my idea is very, very clear that every single thought has to be alive, and we should learn that mathematics, how to convert a thought into a lively thing. Even if it is positive, it can ruin you. Even if it is negative, it can ruin you. And telling others, which is a part of Western psychology, that you tell, then your pressure would be released. No, you are corrupting other people. You are putting negativity and then destroying other people. How many people have you met? In my life, I've met many people, and you have met many people. I have heard this complaint from many different people that there are several of my friends, they want to use me as their vomiting places. They, in their life, they generate this whole negativity, and then they come and vomit us. Believe me, when every single person start vomiting in the world becomes a hell. So psychologists, please unlearn whatever the scholarship you have gathered. Please start believing that information is alive. Even if it is negative, a person should learn within themselves to make it lively. Suppose I have a huge fear and tension that what I will do about this particular thing or particular perspective, I see the opposite side of it. So like if it is a singularity, I would see it with a dual perspective. If it is positive, then I would see negative. If it is negative, I would see its positivity. It's other perspective. If it is all about me, it should be all about we. Then how does it become? Then we have to check past, present, future, Sattva, Raja, Tama. So triplet are there for 3. So these are the kind of prescription I have in my book, Nanobrain, and also here how you can change the thought and make it add different kind of symmetries and make it say, if you can take 15 different symmetries, you will practice it, and then you will convert it into 86% alive. And you will never have stress anymore, and you do not have to vomit it on others.
Well, and in psychology, I would have to say we don't usually recommend vomiting on others, which is why we try to get people to learn how to transform it within. And like you said, especially
but how do you do it? But how do you do it? You have to make it alive. You have to learn how to make it alive. As I said, that you know different perspectives, what you need to input first. And then you have to expand and expand and expand on every single part of it. and then you expand a couple of times, you are done. So 50% recovery will be you do C2 symmetry and C3 symmetry. That is, you just find singularity to plurality, just expand it, the other side, the mirroring of the fact, or the kind of fear or thought that you have, and then past, present, future, satarajatama, that there is some element in your thought that is binding, that is transforming, and that is projecting the future and bringing it back. That is satarajatama. And there is past, present, future, what was happened in the past of this particular thought, and what is happening at this moment, because tomorrow 10 o'clock I will get onto the flight. Right at this moment, I'm supposed to do this. Okay, I'm supposed to do that, I'm supposed to do that. Okay, 10 o'clock, how many hours left? So basically I concretize my present, and then I will concretize my future also, that when I get onto the plane, this will happen, 200 people will be in the queue with me, and millions of people are traveling. So we, from if it is we, then make it I. So this is just other side of the truth, and the 3 dimensions and 5 dimensions, 7 dimensions. These are prescriptions of Tarka Shastra, we call it. So Tarka Shastra means the scholarship of arguments. So how people should argue, it was kind of fundamental of Hindu education system that British destroyed in the 1850 when they came here, and then they wanted to stop all the schools. So we have this many years. Even if you go to now Tibet, because Buddhism is also integral part of Hinduism. So if you go to Tibet monasteries, you can see some of the cultures. Some of the cultures you have to find it in Southeast Asia, in their temples and somewhere. In India, primarily in the North India especially, it is totally destroyed and it's gone. So India has to reinvent itself, its past, especially the knowledge system, the way to acquire knowledge. So I would say that making it alive is the only way we can transform and we can see. But society has to change. Every single architecture is dead architecture. Always you make it something like you are making a city very fast with billions of dollars. For an example, in Saudi Arabia, they are making it, but all made of steel and something which survives 70 to 80 years to 90 years. And after that, the whole thing will collapse. So you are so much attracted to Maya, the formation of dead bodies and are piling up in thought, in music, in dance, everywhere. And you are not fixing it. For an example, sexuality. I have one chapter on sexuality in this book, because perhaps you understand that Indians are very restrictive, very they do not want to discuss about sexuality, but sex is kind of very profound in the temple structures, and Kama Sutra was written in this country only. No other country came up with the book of Kama Sutra. So we were the most liberal people in sexuality is concerned, but sexuality and control it with ojas. So looking at it, every single part in a different way. But we never had kind of porn-like thing or something like that. But now in India, if you see that we are making even the sexuality as a dead object. But if you read Kama Sutra, the original book, it is so beautiful, so beautiful. And even like in today's term, if I talk about vagina, it becomes very dirty word and very bad thing, or penis or something like that. But if you really want to see it, it's absolutely not, because a monk is talking that I'm talking about Ramakrishna Paramahansa, was a school I brought up, and then he said that why do you want to go for a finite number of vaginas when every single point of your body, when it connects to the universe, becomes a vagina, and you feel the pleasure in millions of times, a pleasure that has a momentary burst, and after that it falls apart, is not sattva. So it is not long surviving. Take the one intercourse that is the longest surviving. So the point is, we are momentarily fixing momentarily. If you see the television programs when you were kids, in your country, my country, everywhere. We used to have a long, slow television program. And nowadays, it's a snapshot. It's a 10 seconds, 5 seconds, short videos, this TikTok videos and the cultures. It is destroying the evolution of consciousness. It is giving you more things to make your thoughts and other things, keeping in a dead bodies, piling up dead bodies. As I told you, that you have to, even if you have a negative thought, you be with it. You will find the fundamental reason for fear, for every single thing, every single thought that is negative, that is affecting us, or some stress, is because we are taking a part of the stress and we want to fix it. We do not want to change it. And I have seen that, I have talked to many people who believe in ghosts and they have fear in ghosts. And I could resolve their problem of fear in ghost by asking them, if you are thinking that in some direction there is a ghost, don't blink your eyes, look at there for a longer period of time. If you cross 20 seconds, you are done. There will be no fear. So many people survived. And most of the people with whom I failed, they never wanted to look at. No. Why should I look? I should never look. So they are creating a rigidness by keeping their thoughts in a sealed environment and keeping it a dead body. Just like many examples in India there, because India has a very strong family bond. So when father dies, they keep the body inside the home with ice and do not want to do the last rite. Then police come, break the house, and then take the dead body, and then forcefully they do it. So many examples are there. So parents are, one of them, say mother died, the father with son and daughter, they commit suicide or something like that. Many such examples are there. When too much. So what is happening is you are restricting your thoughts within a small fixed thing, and you do not want to change it. So the practice of dead bodies, making dead bodies, creating dead bodies, it has to change everywhere in our society. Not just in the child education system, the structures you make. If you think about India, we created temple structures that are, say, 400 feet, 600 feet or something like that. And 200 tons of big stone architecture was put on top of that. It's nowhere. It's a 2 tons of stones that is in pyramid, and you think about it. But we have more than the pyramid structures, higher than the pyramid structures, and bigger, and 50 times bigger stones they put over there. But if you look at their houses, they were tiny, made of wood and something. And in today's time, our houses are very big, very big. We want 100 floor, 120, 150 floor. And then we want a tiny little room, 2 feet by 2 feet for the God there, over there. So basically what is happening is, we know what is true, what is bad, but we have become so much intoxicated by dead bodies, creating dead bodies everywhere. Everything has to be fixed. So I think the biggest problem of humanity is the information theory. So I always say that Sanon's information theory that came before the war to kill the humans, and humans did not throw that information theory to the dustbin after the war. And that was the biggest crime that humanity made. And humanity is paying the price, and humanity will pay huge price in the coming days, just because it's information of theory. So it does not want to change that theory. It wants to keep it dead and fixed. And unless information becomes alive, the humanity is doomed.